Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Heidi Roth. I'm a registered dietitian, and our topic today is eating with the seasons, packing a picnic. I have the webinar chat open, so sometimes it's nice to be able to ask questions when you're attending a live event. So please feel free to do that. And we'll also leave a couple minutes at the end for some questions at the end as well. All right, so let's get started. Packing a picnic. Where does the word picnic come from? I thought we would start with that if you've ever wondered. I wondered about it. In fact, we had a long discussion in the car ride, so I was able to look this up. But apparently, the word picnic comes from the French word in the originally the 1600s, meaning pique-nique, meaning to pick at things, and apparently nique was like little small things of not much value. But basically, it was a time when everyone brought some food. It was a social event and eventually became associated with kind of this thought of informal outdoor meals. Here you can see here's a picnic on the English seaside in the 1800s and looks pretty idyllic, doesn't it? So why are we interested in picnicking? It's a great way to enjoy nature and quality time with family and friends. Guess what? We as Americans, and you could maybe just say even globally, we have a nature deficit. And apparently, we spend 93% of our time inside, indoors. That leaves 7% of our time outdoors. And we know that there are so many health benefits with spending time outside. There's all kinds of physical health benefits, and the studies are pretty clear that you could link spending time outside with lower rates of heart disease, lower rates of chronic disease. People heal faster when they're outside. There are all kinds of mental health benefits with spending time outside. One of the big things that's popular now is something called forest bathing. And there's been actually some really great studies showing the benefits of, for mental health and physical health of spending time just in the forest specifically, but it also just in nature. How do you feel when you spend time outside? Most of us don't come from a day spent outside, come back in and say, "Ugh, that was awful." Most of us say, "Hey, that was really nice. I feel better mentally and physically, and I'm feeling pretty good." The other benefits of picnics are that it encourages some healthy homemade meals and don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We're going to be talking about some different ideas of things to bring along. And not everything has to be homemade, but let's say healthy-ish types of meals. It's the perfect opportunity to get creative with your food. And it's just a really great way to spend some quality time with family and friends. The other thing that we have a deficit in is community. And over, the last 50 years or so, we have a lot less community. And so anytime that you can spend time with friends, with family, is so good for your mental health and physical health too. Um, and in fact, one of the things as I was doing research for this is I came something across called the longest table. And this is kind of an outdoor picnic that's kind of sprung up in different cities. So, not a ton here. I think there's one coming up in the fall in Connecticut. But you could certainly start one in your own community. And basically, it's kind of shutting down city blocks or meeting at a park and all eating together and spending that time as community. So that's something kind of nice to think about too. But it doesn't have to be hundreds of people. It can even just be two people for a picnic, and there's plenty of ways to do that. So, what are some kind of things that you want to think about when you go have a picnic? Well, obviously, you want to check the weather, right? That might have a big part in it. If you're going to a park, check the rules. Sometimes, depending on what type of park you're going to, they don't always allow picnics. So, for example, I live here in the Boston area. If you go to the public garden, technically you're not allowed to picnic there. But if you go across, um, across from the public garden to basically the Boston Common, picnics are allowed and encouraged there. And it's just, one street over. So think about some shade. Think about, some amenities close by. Is there a bathroom close by? Or, kind of plan some things out. Obviously, you're going to bring your picnic blanket, a cooler, some utensils, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail about all the different things that you can bring with you. But it's pretty nice to sit outside on the ground, and it doesn't always have to be a picnic table, but a really nice big picnic blanket is great as well. All right, so some smart packing tips. Obviously, use some insulated bags and um, um, cooler packs. You can sometimes freeze some things. Sometimes I freeze some of the drinks, and it's really nice to have a nice icy cold drink. And that can also act as part of the cooler as well. Make sure that you're packing perishable foods in small containers. So you don't want to set out this big, huge, some of us like to cook in large amounts. And maybe you're bringing along way too much food and a lot more than you really need. So if you're going to put that big, huge container out, you might have to throw the rest of it out when you get home because maybe, you're not paying attention to the time, you're having a fun time, and now all of a sudden your big container of food has been out for like 3 hours in the heat is going to be, pretty iffy in terms of food safety. But if you have some smaller containers, let's say you make a big potato salad and you pack it in smaller containers and kind of just pull them out as you need them, then if you have leftovers, you can go home and bring the rest home. So that's kind of one of the tips that I like to do, especially. Obviously, if you have some raw things that you're going to cook, any type of meat, cook it, you know, make sure you keep it separate, and don't cross-contaminate with the things that are going to be ready to eat, right? So if you're going to barbecue something, make sure that you're keeping those meats very separated from any of the other food. Um, Okay, so what to bring to a picnic? Maybe you've done a little bit of research beforehand and you know that there's not going to be picnic tables, so you bring your blanket, or maybe there are tables, so you bring your tablecloth. Um, you can bring a picnic basket, but I've got this beautiful wicker picnic basket that I got at a yard sale. And I'll be honest with you, it's adorable. It's so cute. I have not used it once in 20 years. In fact, I just got rid of it on the everything is free list in Arlington because I never used it. I always bring a cooler and my big canvas bag. So while a basket is charming, sometimes it's easier to bring it in other types of containers. Bring some lightweight plates, some reusable silverware, napkins, bottle opener. Garbage bags is something that you want to remember, and a lot of times you kind of forget to bring garbage bags along. But some hand sanitizer, and then obviously things like sunscreen and bug spray, and of course, make sure you bring lots of water to drink and something to stay hydrated with as well. And then just touching on food safety again, make sure you keep food out of the danger zone. The danger zone is considered to be anywhere from 40 degrees to 140 degrees. So basically, the rule is keep hot foods hot and cold foods cold. Most of the time, things that you bring along to a picnic are going to be cold foods, unless you're barbecuing something there, or maybe you've brought something hot along. But for most of the time, it's going to be cold foods. So if, it's really hard to keep foods right out, right exactly under 40 or above 140 for the whole time of the picnic. And don't go crazy worrying about it. But in general, don't let foods sit in that danger zone for more than 1 to 2 hours. So going back to our big container of potato salad, if you've made this huge container and it's sat out in the danger zone at like 70 degrees for half the afternoon, that's probably something that you're not going to want to eat, that you're going to want to get rid of. So smaller containers, keep them in the cooler, keep them nice and cold, and store leftovers immediately in the cooler to kind of bring them down back down under that danger zone temperature. Now, some foods need less refrigeration than others. So, things like hard cheeses, hard salamis that you slice, not the salami that you eat at the deli, but the hard ones that you slice, don't need to be refrigerated. But once you start slicing into those hard salamis, then yes, they do need to be refrigerated afterwards. So if you're going on a hike or something like that, some of those can last a little bit longer. Um, One myth is that mayonnaise is the culprit in food poisoning. A lot of times people say, "Oh no, it's got mayonnaise in it." Mayonnaise is actually pretty acidic. It's There's a lot of studies that suggest it's actually what the mayonnaise is paired with that's actually more of the danger. So typically you have things like mayonnaise and chicken, mayonnaise and eggs, right? For an egg salad or a chicken salad. Um, even the potato salad, it's actually more the potatoes that are the risk versus the mayonnaise. But mayonnaise, and we're talking commercial mayonnaise. If you have made your own homemade mayonnaise, good for you, but it is certainly delicious, but it's not going to have the same rules. So we're talking about commercial mayonnaise that's been pasteurized. So, what are some things that you can bring along on your picnic? Um, Typically, I like to you set out your blanket, and then it's nice to kind of have little things in the middle that you kind of just little type of finger types of foods. Going back to the origins of the word picnic, it's kind of picking at things. So I kind of like to have a little spread of like a lot of different things that you can kind of pick at. Here you can see there's some fruits. I like some small sandwiches, not a huge sandwich, but maybe smaller type of sandwiches where you can have a sandwich and you can kind of pick at that. You can have some salads. So we'll talk a little bit more about these a little bit in detail. Um, Here there's little mason jar parfaits, which are really nice, or you can even do these little mason jar desserts would be nice. Typically on a picnic, I bring along like a solid bar type of cookie, like maybe a shortbread or some brownies, some cut up pieces of fruit. A lot of times, as I mentioned, I'll freeze some of my liquids as ice, and then you can kind of make a little slushy. If you're going hiking, a lot of times I'll freeze juice boxes as ice, or I'll freeze my water bottles to kind of keep some things cool in my backpack for a portable picnic. Don't forget about hydration, right? Bring along plenty of water. Infusing with fruit can be kind of fun for some fun flavors. Watch obviously the sugary drinks and the alcohol in the sun. It's very easy to kind of overdo it and get a little bit dehydrated. And if you're drinking a lot of sugary drinks, that sugar does add up quickly. Anybody want to take a guess what type of iced tea this is? This is one of my favorite iced teas to make. Anybody make this at home? Put it in the chat if you do. I'll give you some hints. It's made from a flower and it's really good at helping to decrease blood pressure. So a lot of research studies on this particular type of tea shows that it can decrease your blood pressure equally to a low dose of an antihypertensive. Yes, there we go. I'm seeing hibiscus. So this is iced hibiscus tea. Hibiscus is pretty tangy. It's pretty tart. So a lot of times when I make it at home, I do Add in a little bit of honey to it to make it a little bit less tart, but not a lot, just a real small touch. Hibiscus tea is frequently, apparently, according to my research, it's people drink it a lot in Egypt. They drink it a lot in Mexico, and across the different Caribbean countries as well. It's can be pretty popular. So how do you make it? If you go online, there's lots of recipes for hibiscus tea. I love the Tazo. I never know how to pronounce it, but they have this passion tea that's basically hibiscus, orange peel, and rose hips. So it has a lot of vitamin C. It's got all the benefits of hibiscus. It's beautiful. I make a, I save my like the marinara jars, like the Rouse marinara. I wash those jars out. I put several tea bags in the jar, pour boiling water in. I let it steep for quite a while. And then I've got this really strong hibiscus concentrate that I'll add water in. And a lot of times during the summer, I drink that instead of water, and I'm getting a lot of the health benefits from the hibiscus tea as well. So that would be one idea of something to bring along for beverage. Um, so as I mentioned, it's kind of fun to bring along little things to pick at. This is a sandwich called pain beignet. Um, and I'm sorry for my probably bad French pronunciation of it. I love this sandwich. You can make a big one at one time and cut it into much smaller pieces. It's pretty safe at room temperature for a short period of time. It basically has canned tuna in it, and then instead of mayonnaise, you're adding things like briny olives and capers and chopped onions and tomatoes. You can see the top that you drizzle olive oil on the bread, put in maybe a little bit of basil, and then the reason why I like it for picnics is you can make it in advance. So you can even make this like the night before, and it's meant to be smushed. So a lot of recipes will actually call for even putting like a brick on it or something to kind of smush everything down. And the flavors just all kind of meld together. And so it's an easy sandwich to make in advance. It's pretty portable. And it doesn't, don't have to worry about it getting soggy or getting smushed, especially if you're bringing along hiking. Now, if you're bringing along hiking, I would bring along some frozen water. Don't, when I say it's pretty shelf stable, not for hours on end, but, it is pretty portable. Um, so some of the other things I like to think about, you can make some fun little pinwheel wraps. So these are kind of fun little things to kind of pick at too, smaller. Um, some fruit salad or some sliced fruits. This is called cowboy caviar. I don't know if anyone's familiar with cowboy caviar. Cowboy caviar is basically, apparently, it's from Texas apparently, and it has black-eyed peas in it. It's basically a corn and bean salad. I love it. It's once again very portable. You can make it even a couple days in advance, and is fairly safe at, more at room temperature. It doesn't have to be, kept ice cold the whole time. Um, and then kebabs are always a nice thing to think about bringing along too. So these are something that you can grill at home and then bring them along and eat them cold or, somewhat room temperature as well. You can make a little tzatziki sauce, which is basically, super easy to make. It's like yogurt and some grated um, cucumber and garlic and salt, always a delicious sauce. Um, and then little kind of snacky type of platters too. Once again, kind of things that you can kind of pick at. Um, and so I thought this one was beautiful. They've got some feta on here, some radishes, different types of crackers, and some watermelon. So just kind of bringing a plate along and making your own little charcuterie and pair pair things in kind of chunks together. And as we said at the beginning, it's a chance to be creative, and this is a fun little thing to be creative with. So that's something that you can think about. And then, make it memorable. Bring along maybe a frisbee, bring along some cards to play, um, bring a book along, depending on how big your group is. Maybe bring along something like a game like Taboo or something like that. And it makes for a memorable afternoon. Take time to relax, enjoy your meal. And, most people don't have to be reminded to take a few photos. It's pretty easy to do it. But these are the type of things that make summer memorable. So often we just kind of go from one thing into the next thing, and um, we don't necessarily remember things that stand out. So taking some time, even on a weeknight, you can very easily go to your local park on a weeknight. The other thing is too, is look in your town to see what kind of music is playing. Well, many towns will have summer concert series. I would love to hear. Put in the chat, which town are you from? Have you been to any concert series lately? Outdoor concerts that's sponsored by your town. Would love to hear it, and that's always a fun thing to bring a picnic to as well. All right, so some different recipe ideas. This is a Greek 7-layer dip, and it's Greek yogurt on the bottom, and then you layer on some hummus, some chopped cucumber, chopped tomato, Kalamata olives, some feta cheese scallions, and so you can take a screenshot of this and this recipe, or even you can also Google Greek 7-layer dip. This is the cowboy caviar that I said that I mentioned that I like too. This is with the black-eyed peas. Once again, feel free to take a screenshot, and you use the fresh or frozen corn kernels. And then mix in some different things that kind of would be Southwestern flavors. And then I love cilantro. So here it calls for a quarter cup of chopped fresh cilantro. I put in like even more because I love it so much. I know not everyone likes cilantro, so you do you. Put in as much or as little cilantro as you want there. Um, and that's easily portable. This is a tomato, cucumber, and herb salad. And so this is just with some ripe tomatoes, Persian cucumbers, and then you're adding in a half cup of fresh parsley. And parsley, I love parsley in salads, and things like a tabbouleh salad is going to be mostly parsley, a lot more parsley than actually whole grains. So parsley also is very high in vitamin C, it's high in vitamin K, and this is something that you can make immediately or serve it up to 2 days. We talked about making those little crudité platters, and this could be on one of your little platters as well. So that is the end of our presentation, and I left some time for questions as well. So I'm going to go back here to one of our beautiful pictures here while we open it up for questions. Any thoughts, comments? What do you typically bring for your picnics as well? Would love to hear it. So don't forget, keep your hot food hot, cold food cold. Okay, here's a question. Cowboy caviar again. All right, whoops. There's the cowboy caviar. So feel free to screenshot that. Um, oh, stuffed grape leaves. That's a great idea for a picnic. Um, do you make those stuffed grape leaves yourself, or is that something that you buy? All right. Let's see. Here's a question. Would be good with black beans, do you think? 100%. In fact, black-eyed peas sometimes can be a little bit hard to find in the grocery store. I don't know if anyone else finds sometimes has trouble. My grocery store is like super small, so a lot of times I have to go to one of the bigger ones to find them. So a lot of times I just make it with the black beans. It's delicious. It's also good with pinto beans. Pinto beans are used in a lot of Southwestern type of cooking as well. So that's always a good option as well. Anyone go to any fun venues for your picnic? Do you go to like a local park or do you go to music shows? Does anyone live in the Boston area and go to the Decortiva Museum? That's an outdoor art park. And I have not been there in the last year or two. Um, so, but we used to go there all the time when the kids were little, because then afterwards you could kind of walk around and see the art. Oh, Botanical Garden, Tower Hill. Yeah, that's in Harvard, right? Harvard, Massachusetts. Um, and so I keep meaning to go to that. That's on my bucket list, the Tower Hill. That sounds like a beautiful place for picnic. Um, yeah, the as far as to Cordova goes, oh, West Boylston, that's it. Okay, for Tower Hill. As far as to Cordova goes, check the website because I know in the meantime they now are owned. Well, I mean, it's been quite a few years, but they're owned by the trustees of the reservation, I believe. So there is some more stringent kind of guidelines about getting in and out, but just check the website. The Mendon Drive-In. Oh, that's cool. That's a fun place to bring a picnic, and I'm guessing they still show movies there. But that sounds like a lot of fun as well. Well, all great ideas, everyone. And maybe you even just organize a block party in your neighborhood and do one of those like long tables. That's always fun too. So, Rocky Woods in Medfield. Also not something that I'm familiar with. Um, oh, I don't know if anyone's been to Land's End. It's one of the trustees' reservations. That's also one of our favorite places. That is in Hingham, I believe. It's a little bit of a drive for me. I live in Arlington, but it is absolutely beautiful. Oh, that's it. World's End. Thank you. Yeah, World's End in Hingham is really, really beautiful. That I do know you need to make a reservation for World's End, so you don't want to be disappointed. Since COVID, a lot of these places do require some sort of reservation, sometimes, not all of them. Castle Hill is gorgeous. Also, that's up near Crane Beach. Beautiful, beautiful. Castle Hill, check out their website because they also have a lot of concerts. I know they have a summer concert series with a lot of free concerts, so that might be something to also check out. All great ideas. Um, put these on your summer bucket list, and I hope you have a wonderful time with your picnics. Okay, we got one last one. Powasset Farm in Dover. Ah, that's a new one to me as well. I'm going to write that down. So Powasset Farm. Um, I don't know. Is that a trustees of the reservation? The trustees of the reservation has so many amazing properties as well. So that's oh, there we go. Thank you. It looks like it's the trustees. We are, for those of you living in Massachusetts and even just, in New England, we have so many beautiful places. So, hope you all get a chance to get out, spend some time outside, with your community, your friends, your loved ones, and eat some delicious things as well. So, Thank you all for your comments. It was wonderful to hear from you all. It's so much more fun as a presenter to have that interaction. So love that and appreciate it. And thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer, and we'll see you all next time.